How to add siding to a somewhat complicated structure. This chicken coop is on a hill, so that's going to add some complexity. I want the scallops to look kind of natural in the front at the bottom, so I kind of take it and have to cut it up a little bit into the hill. Everything's got to be nice and straight and level, so I took a chalk line and I ran it all the way across. When I get to the chicken door, I kind of cut it out roughly, and I'm going to put wood all the way around it, but I want to make sure it's fairly tight. The actual board to make my marks. Rough it in, I cut it out rough, and then I set the shingle in just with one nail or screw. The first upright, hold it in place, and then we'll draw our line. The siding will go right up to the edge of the wood. Piece of siding down, cut on this line here. There's always challenges. We're going to have to trim around this wire. Work it around that wire. Put the trim with the cord in there. Trim back in place. Of course, anytime you're putting siding on, you're going to come across stuff like this where the siding's not going to go over it. So all have to be addressed. Big old mouse hole. Fill this hole from the inside out. Hold in with a few screws, the hole fixed. It's our chalk line, so we'll put it on that. First row is always the most challenging because you've got to get it straight. Everything else depends upon the first row. Next piece that goes up has to match the lower course. We'll bring it back and forth until it matches the way it's supposed to. Connect the back of the shingle into the front of the shingle. Make sure everything stays nice and level. Make sure it's square in all directions. You could tell it's nice and connected down here to the other panel. And when you come up here, you want to make sure you don't go too tight. You want it straight so the groove is available for the next one to connect to. Fitting into some of these odd angles can be a bit challenging. A piece like this, I just put the shingle in and then I mark it on either side of this one. Get the spacing correct here, and then I mark at the top and the bottom. It may not be perfectly straight, but it'll match the contour. This line's pretty straight because you can compare it to one of the straight lines on the shingle. Slide in the shingle, see how we did? Remove a little more material here because it tightened up the shingle here and here. Just cut off a sliver. See if our gap improved. Looks a lot better on this one now. Shingle, I'll square up the edge. Take two measurements, one at the bottom, one at the top. They're going to be different because there's a slant here. You can see this line is really slanted because, of course, the coop that I'm working on is slanted. So we'll catch the edge and see how we did on this other side. Majorly wrong. You can see I forgot to line up the center of the shingle. So this piece is going to have to go somewhere else. Instead of squaring off the edge, I need to make sure it's centered. Make sure everything lines up so it looks correct. This time I also want to make sure I keep this extra shingle on there so it'll look a little better underneath. You can see it's going to be a very odd cut. Got to get a bit creative here. It's quite a cut. It lines up now. Overall looking pretty good. Maybe a little tight here. Those crazy cuts, I'd say pretty good. First, keep checking your level because you don't want to go off there. Second course is on the front. The third course now, we'll get everything lined up and squared. In order to make the measurements, I have to use this little ledge right here as a basis. It's not the lip here, it's inside at this line right here. Take a little piece, this slides up to this line. Push this in, it catches, so that right there is where we're going to have to measure from, is right here. At the top of the hinge, we're going to go 3 inches down, and we're using this as the point of reference. I'm going to be cutting this section out. The notch out, put it into place. I believe this fits in real nice. Do a little trimming around that hinge. With a little readjustment, we missed the hinge. And a 3-inch piece across the front. Made a cut on this side. Sure everything stays level. Piece is definitely trickier because you've got to draw this straight line all the way across and actually meet it with this shingle here. Place it in and see how we did. Getting this section right here to line up is what we want to see. Course is on, we'll go to the fourth. Measure from the top to the seam here. Don't need to cut anything off the shingle, but we're going to have to cut some notches. For the support for the roof. Mark the roof truss. 13.5 from the seam, 13.5 from this side. To project that line to the other side, so I put a screw here so I know that's where the line is. Cut out this notch. Place it in. It's in there real nice. The same thing to the last piece on the front. Angles on the side need to line up with the front. The top piece, it's easier to make a cardboard template. This edge for our cardboard template. A template takes the guesswork out of the shape. It's the cardboard into the notch and line it up. Place it in and slide it up. It's looking a lot more charming if a chicken coop can be charming.